Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another year of the Academy of Death Racers Awards, affectionately called the Deathies, as we like to call them. I'm Jeff Bulmer. I will be one of your hosts, and this is Dakota Arsenault, who you will probably see on that day. We don't know specifically where yet, but he'll be there. Dakota, thank you for joining us.
I am so happy to be here. We have a good working relationship, you and I, so I'm happy that we can do this together today.
Yeah, and what is it we're doing together today? Did I say that? I completely forgot.
I don't think you did. I think you need to tell the people what we're doing here today.
All right. Well, this is the third year of the Deathies, and today, me and you are going to announce our nominees in for the third year of the Deathies in all of our branches. There are 6 branches this year. 5 of them have nominees, and we did make a couple of small tweaks to the nomination process. We added a stipulation that no more than 3 nominees per branch can be not from the Oscars death race. So that's a lot of negatives. Basically, all of the nominees you are going to hear here, no more than 3 per category, are going to be movies that people will not have watched. Still negatives. I don't know how I'm doing this. Do you have a way of summarizing what I just said, Dakota?
I understand the gist of what you're saying is that they cannot all be Oscar nominated movies, that it could only be a maximum of 3 of the 5. So the remaining 2 had to at least be non-Oscar nominated movies. Am I understanding you correctly there?
Roughly.
Okay.
Up to 3 nominees per category can be non-Oscar nominated movies. So
Gotcha.
some of these categories, if any of these categories has only movies on it which were not nominated at the Oscars, they will have no more than 3 nominees.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. I appreciate you sort of filling this in, and I know this was, I guess, going on behind the scenes, and I didn't have to worry about that when I was casting the vote for my branch.
Yeah, and our branch, I actually am not sure if there was any branch that has only Oscar nominees this year. Usually there isn't, but this year I know we got pretty close. And I remember we're both in the creators branch. I was running the vote for that. We did not run into any issues with this new rule.
Hmm.
So we have a full 5 nominees that you can look forward to in a little ways down the road, down the line.
It almost reminds me a little bit of how the rules used to be for best animated feature, where it would be like it's going to be anywhere between 3 and 5, depending on how many movies qualify. We'll see what the number is this year.
Yes, so we've actually gone backwards from the Oscars. We used to have a guaranteed 5. Now we have a maximum of 5.
Love it.
But I have seen behind the scenes all of these nominees. Well, I'm not going to speak to whether or not I've seen all the movies, but I have seen who all the nominees are, and I am very excited to share these with you. But I'm not going to be the first one to talk. Dakota, why don't you tell us a little bit about our Animal Lovers branch?
Sure, yeah, animal lovers branch. This is for the branch that is comprised of people who love seeing critters at the cinema. Each year, they award the top performances by the goodest boys and girls all around, and it does not have to be just live action. They could be animated animals as well. So, our nominees for best animal performance, aka the Johnny Award, we have Jenny the donkey from the Banshees of Inisherin. We have Rakakuni from Everything Everywhere All at Once. We have Parito from Puss in Boots, The Last Wish. And lastly, we have Puss in Boots from Puss in Boots, The Last Wish.
Wow. This now in previous years, this category has tended to favor dogs, but I only see 1 dog among those nominees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess the animal branch is expanding their horizons a little bit, and they're willing to accept things like a donkey or a raccoon as being cute and adorable as well.
A little behind the scenes, this vote was very active behind the scenes. Their long list was very interesting. They were willing to accept quite a range of animals, I'll just say. And I hope that one day we can share that with you, because it was very, very cool to watch unfold.
I can only imagine. And I feel like the Banshees of Inisherin probably had at least half of the animals on the list. But another one I'm a little surprised that isn't here is the panda from Turning Red.
Yeah, that would have that's one that I would have expected. Or EO from EO. I thought this was going to
Exactly.
be a donkey versus donkey category, but
Live the donkey.
EO has been snubbed from this category.
Yeah, that's a little disappointing for sure. Maybe just not enough people have seen EO yet.
That's true. It's not widely available in any kind of streaming release yet. So
Mhm.
I know I had to go to the theater to see it.
All right. Well, what's our next category then, Jeff?
Next up, we have the food and drink branch. The food and drink branch of the Academy of Death Racers was formed to recognize outstanding usage of meals in movies. Every year, the branch recognizes a crop of films with scenes that make your mouth water, or just as often, do very much the opposite. And we've got both categories here in this year's nominees. First off, we've got The Captain's Dinner from Triangle of Sadness. Hot Dog Fingers from Everything Everywhere All at Once. Jenny's Carrot from The Banshees of Inisherin. And Margot's Cheeseburger from The Menu. Have you seen all these movies?
Yeah, I have. This is kind of a dark list.
A little bit. I think there's two categories or two scenes here that are ultimately a little more uplifting in the end, but all of them have come with quite a bit of baggage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I Jenny's Carrot, that just sort of makes brings a tear to your eye if you've seen Banshees of Inisherin, you sort of understand what that is. I'm also interested to see. I wonder how far the s'mores got from the menu. Were they like the number 6 option, or how did that work? But Margot's Cheeseburger is sort of definitely the centerpiece of that film.
I know I was a big fan of, I believe it was course number 7 in the menu, Tyler's Bullshit. But I don't know how far that one made it. That
Yeah,
one was not very good looking either.
yeah. We don't have this year like we had in past years of stuff like Harley Quinn's sandwich, stuff like that, where it's the real mouth-watering option. We really don't have any of that. Like the cheeseburger looks really good in the menu, but I think it's more about what that scene means to the movie overall. We don't have like something that's actually mouth-watering.
Yeah, this is a very contextual list this year.
Yeah, especially the captain's dinner, which that's something else.
That is definitely, that's a good way to describe it. Anyway, next up, Dakota, this is our branch. We're going to talk about the creators branch, and specifically you're going to talk about the creators branch.
Yeah, so the creators branch, we're made up of people who are podcasters. That's you and me. I have Contra Zoom Pod. You have Classic Movies Live, so I'm sure people know that. We also have people who work in maybe the film industry, who write about movies, who maybe have YouTube channels. We cover a wide range of people, just sort of people that maybe do a little bit more behind the scenes sort of stuff. And I don't know, I love our group. We have a really active group, and Paulo usually sort of shepherds us a little bit between you and him, directing us where to go. And that's sort of fitting because our award is the best conversation piece or the biggest cow award. And so that's not necessarily what is the best movie or we gave the best reviews to. It is what movie sort of drove the most secondary content. So the first content is the movie itself, and the secondary content is what we're writing about, what we're talking about, what we're reviewing, all that sort of stuff in what we do for our living or for fun, really. So our nominees this year are Babylon, Don't Worry, Darling, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Morbius, and Tar. That's a really interesting group. What do you think about that crop?
This was I think I may have picked a different 5 when I was on our long list, but when I saw that this was the group of nominees, I thought this is the strongest possible group of nominees in this particular branch. I remember lots of content for most of these things as they were coming out. Don't Worry, Darling, of course, was a is a very strong contender in this, based on everything that happened at Venice and afterwards.
Yeah, did Harry Styles spit at Chris Pine or not? Don't really know, but a lot of people talked about it.
Even Harry Styles at his concert in Toronto.
Yeah, that's true. That's really funny. Yeah, I really like this list too. And you could go through each of these and you could be like, yeah, that was a big topic of conversation. That was a big topic of conversation. All this sort of stuff you go through. And so as you can tell by our list, it's not about how good the movie is, which is why you get movies like Don't Worry, Darling and Morbius, depending on your thoughts on It's Morbin Time here, as being conversation starters.
Yeah, one thing that I would like to do in the lead up to our actual awards, and I don't know exactly which platform I'll do this on, so keep an eye on Twitter, I guess, because that's the one I have. I'd like to go through and sort of post some secondary content from all of these, just so that, so that our voters can vote informed on this.
I like that idea. That's actually really cool. And you can aggregate everyone in our group to get their content out there a bit more.
Yes, that as well. Yeah. So anyway, very strong category this year, if I do say so myself.
I agree. What do we have next, Jeff?
Next up, we have the Kino branch. And now this is always one of my favorite, because more than any other branch, the Kino branch is very much a branch about recognizing that film is subjective. Although the most wildly entertaining movies of the year may go or underappreciated by lots of other award shows, the Kino branch is here to draw our attention to some of 2022's most underrated gems. And this year, for the Best Kino Film Award, we have as nominees Ambulance, Moonfall, Morbius, and RRR.
That's a list of movies for sure.
Yeah, it definitely is. This is one where I have seen all the movies, and I have to say, watching RRR in a theater was maybe my best theater-going experience of the year, and watching Morbius in a Discord stream was maybe my best Discord stream experience of the year. So this is very much a category, at least for me, about experiences. And I mean, like I said, I like this category quite a bit.
It's kind of interesting. I look at the 4 nominees here, and despite the fact that you can look at them all, maybe with the exception of RRR, and sort of scoff at it, all of them really have their supporters as much as they really have their detractors as well, especially Ambulance and Moonfall. Ambulance was really a return to form for Michael Bay. Morbius is the one that's probably a little bit more of a stretch, where people were like, it's so bad, but it's so good at the same time. But yeah, it's interesting how there are defenders of all of these movies, RRR being the one sort of exception that was sort of universally praised and just sort of got shafted by the Academy overall, other than for Best Original Song.
I would like to point out one interesting omission here. I know a little more behind the scenes of why this got omitted. It just barely didn't make it. But Morbius you'll notice Morbius is nominated both for the Best Kino Film and Best Conversation Piece, the Biggest Cow Award, because Morbius did drive a lot of content around it, specifically with lots of people clowning on Jared Leto and Tyrese Gibson and lots of things, but it spawned a lot of GIFs, a lot of funny memes, stuff like that. Another movie that was sort of played up to the same degree, but did just miss this list is Black Adam, which, having seen both, I personally would say that Morbius, at least for me when I watched it, was sort of maybe average to bad, where Black Adam I actively disliked. So I think it's interesting that Black Adam was on their long list, but maybe didn't elicit the same feelings as Morbius, even though it was hyped up the entire year to do just the same.
Yeah, I think it was one of those movies where, unlike Morbius, where it's so bad it's good, I think Black Adam was just, it's so bad.
Yeah. Well, anyway, last but not least, certainly not least, we have our newest award for our newest branch for the AoDRs, the queer branch. Dakota, would you like to say a little bit about the queer branch?
Yeah, sure. It's very exciting that this is a new branch to the AoDR community. I'm not surprised at all. Our Discord channel is a very inclusive place, and people feel very comfortable just being themselves. And I'm glad that we're getting this representation here as well. And even at the AoDR festival, now it's you just had your second annual festival.
Mhm.
In both years, you had a queer category where you gave a prize out for the top LGBTQ film as well. So no surprise at all that there is now a queer branch, and I'm really happy to see it here. And I'm very excited to be able to announce the first crop of nominees for the best LGBTQ plus film, otherwise known as the, I'm probably going to butcher this, the Queer Palm d'Or or the Queer Palm D AODR. It looks better when it's typed out rather than when you're reading it out loud. So I apologize if my pronunciation is not how the branch intended it to be. But the nominees are After Sun, Bodies, 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 Close, Fire Island, and Joyland. What do you think of those nominees?
Uh, this is a fantastic crop of nominees. I loved all of these movies when I saw them. Bodies, 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 I'm especially happy to see represented somewhere in our list because that movie is, well, it's an A24 film. So if you haven't seen it yet, you will within the next 3 or 4 years, probably. But I remember seeing this in the theater, and it was all people around my age. Everyone was having the time of their lives. It's a hilarious movie, especially to watch with a crowd, and it it does have some very, very good LGBTQ plus representation. Um, it plays a lot of things for jokes, but it's very sincere when it comes to the characters and their relationships.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think this is a very good list. I think most of these are very good lists, actually, all of them. So I'm very happy with this year's crop of nominees.
Yeah, I absolutely agree too. And you know, I think the queer branch nominates some really interesting films. I kind of feel like After Sun's going to run away with it, but I don't want to, put my finger on the scale or anything like that. But yeah, overall, what an impressive group of nominees, and kudos to all of our branches for taking the time and consideration to really put forth movies that represent their branches to the best of their abilities.
Well, I think that's it for us today. So thank you very much for coming on again, Dakota. Thank you everybody for watching, and thank you all of the branches for giving us your lists of nominees. Voting will go live sometime in the next few weeks here, and then the actual AoDR, the Deathies ceremony, will be held on March 11th, and I believe that will be live again this year, as it is every year. You'll see me there, you'll see Pierre there, you'll see Dakota there, you'll see lots of people, hopefully lots of people you recognize, hopefully many people you don't yet.
Yeah, it's always fun when we get to put some faces to usernames.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
Oh,
thank
go
you very
ahead.
much, Jeff. No, I just want to say thank you very much. Appreciate it, and looking forward to the Deathies.
Hot dog fingers from Everything Everywhere All at Once.